some days they might work more, but they're on call 24 hours a day.
Right.
Of course, they can't pay them 24 hours a day.
Right.
So they got a special exemption, and they're trying to take that away, which would mean they have to pay a minimum wage for 24 hours a day,
Right.
which doesn't work.
No.
So,
It makes it your flock untenable.
right. And so that's what they're trying to do.
Hey, that's pretty good, isn't it, Bob?
We'll be talking about that later. We'll do that report, you know, I want to give you.
Oh, thank you. And your unagendized reports?
Yeah.
Thank you.
But that could really hurt his operation.
Oh, it's big.
Did you
And it's
prepare this, or was this out of?
You know, in our county, it's in as steel.
Yeah.
Well, generally ours-
We've got 10,000 sheep, I think, in the county, is what the accuracy report showed. It's significant. But, and those guys all run, you know, probably more in Nevada than they do in Lassen.
Yeah, I saw, when I went up to look at that water stuff up there, I saw more cows, and I didn't see too many sheep at all.
Hi, Mel.
So you start farming, Bob?
Oh, yeah,
You irrigating?
got to.
Great.
You gotta get it when it's coming.
You gotta get what I do, yeah, there's not much people, but I'm gonna start pumping water tomorrow. Start the divots going,
Yeah.
at least one of them.
I know that the soil was turned on there too.
The other day, and,
Yeah.
I apologize.
Seen
for
that
that.
right.
I tried.
You know, they're only getting 10% of their water.
No, you're not.
or they get some of
No,
them.
you're
90% of the water's been cut.
Yeah.
And found the people that bought all that property down around the store,
Good morning.
they bought that property just in time. Really, it's really helping them.
Yeah, it's gonna help pay this year.
Okay. So I don't know if it's stick around. Sheriff,
I don't know, I just called Bob this morning.
What's that?
okay.
Is that what's underneath that, is that all the
Wait.
corn stalks and stuff? So they let it ferment under there?
You guys had fun Friday afternoon, huh?
No shit.
Yeah, that smells good, that's a good smell up there.
I was scared straight.
Are you kidding?
No, I'm not kidding, I think it smells good. Outside, it's
Okay, yeah, not bad, that smelled worse.
Yeah.
Take it back a little bit.
Not that I have a
Seymour's too.
Just that's it.
But, so that stuff just sits under the tarps and,
And I think we gave
so
her
we
pretty
should go out there and make some
good
rum.
opportunity.
Yeah, it's real good when it does.
She took full
And
advantage.
that's why it don't spoil. If you get air to it, it'll spoil.
Yeah, they got it wrapped
I
up.
told him I
I mean, it went through that winter, I was shocked.
We got 9,000 tires now.
I know it.
Where's the pit at?
It's on, they put it up there. I thought you know where Stan Allen's house was?
So you can't see it in the
Oh, yeah, you
Yeah,
can see it.
yeah, it looks like a big white
Big
dome.
white barn.
Maybe that's what I thought it was.
Yeah, it looks like a big white dome.
Her communication skills are some of the worst I've
So we, Bill or Dave,
Yeah.
they're,
Yes.
October,
Correct.
and it got rain on it. And then it just get rain, and just pay
Miles an hour,
You know,
24/7.
toys.
That's what I fixed.
Man, my God, that shit normalized.
Awesome.
Oh, but a little bit of moisture, yeah, they liked it back in the day.
Yeah,
That doesn't ruin it?
no, yeah,
Not that, it can get too much moisture.
yeah.
Would you?
The problem is, if you get too much, you can't stack it.
Right.
It's your milk.
And then how do you move it?
Where you go?
You don't.
By hand.
One time, the cow.
Yeah.
Open the gate.
Getting something? That was nice.
I hate this time of year. My wife gets me still light.
Oh, she got stuff for you to do.
Well, I stay at home all day, so I just turn the horses out. Let me in the yard, you know. I forgot to get in, sure she got home.
Oh, she thought you were mowing the lawn?
I was letting them mow the lawn.
Pause.
1 minute, 8:01.
Well, shoot. Yeah.
Chairs and whatnot.
All right, I'll pick it up and then.
You ready?
We're ready.
All right. Just open that. It's on. It's all done.
There you go.
Okay, call the meeting to order, announcement of items of first public comment. No public comment, announcement of items to be discussed in closed session.
Mr. Chairman, the board will be meeting in closed session for a conference with legal counsel regarding existing litigation pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9, Patterson versus Nielsen, Lassen Works, and Lassen County Board of Supervisors, Lassen County Superior Court case number 59089. We will also be meeting for a conference with labor negotiator Rick Haig telephonically. This may include the following bargaining units: Lassen County Peace Officers Association, Lassen County Peace Officers Supervisors Association, Lassen County Peace Officers Management Association, and Lassen County Deputy Sheriff's Association. The board will also be meeting for an employee performance evaluation of County Administrative Officer Richard Egan and for a report on claims.
Thank you. Now we'll go into closed session.
Thank you. That would be something that we need. Yeah, I need to talk to you about, I gotta tell you, it's actually a good joke.
Which joke?
Take Rogaine or minoxidil when your wife's asleep, put it on the top of her head.
That started out as
Stuff that grows hair.
Bring the meeting to order. Good meeting, listen
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Almighty God, we pray this day for your ever-enduring guidance. We ask you, pluck us in wisdom and fortitude that we may dispense our knowledge and facts intelligently among all humanity of whom we serve. Okay, announcement items discussed in the closed session.
Mr. Chairman, the board continued its closed session to the end of the open session.
Agenda approval, additions and regulations.
Mr. Chairman, we would like to pull the item on the consent calendar that I would like to discuss, and I'd like to pull it off, and it is number G1. Just to pull it off the consent agenda, not to pull it from the agenda. Right. Just pull it off. Correct, for a second.
We have to put up a separate discussion.
Yeah.
So,
Does we have a new number?
G1. G1.
Mr. Chairman, I would request we adjourn the meeting to the end of Hugh Salford. Adjourn the meeting of Hugh Salford.
Any other changes? Seeing none, do I have a motion to approve the agenda? Second.
Which one moved?
Yeah, moved, I said.
Okay, thanks.
Any discussion?
Thank you.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Ayes have it. Public comment? Any public comment? See none? Okay. Now we'll go to unagenda items reports by board member. Jeff?
I just want to say that what we've been working with Malfa, getting residencies here from UNR. I talked to a young man that's in the med program at UNR, and he's going to do his residency here with Dr. Holmes. Exciting. Very.
Yeah, I went to RCRC, had a very good discussion. Stuff here. Anyway, medical marijuana was one of the deals, and I'll just kind of pass this around to you. This is what some of the various other counties are doing with their ordinances. We're going to be updating the ordinances. So anyway, this is just something for you guys to take home and look at. So I know that we'll be working on that. One of the other problems that down in Butte County we're having is a solar project. People come in with these, setting up these solar arrays and taking up all the line usage, and then they're eliminating everybody else that wants to do anything. So if you want to put solar on your house, then it's pretty tough to do because you can't sell your excess power. So that's something we want to be aware of in our county. Big arrays aren't coming in, taking up all the line space and eliminates all future growth. Let's see, down in Tulare County, I know that they've lost, we have 800,000 acre feet of water that's getting zero allocations. Lucas County, we're on the west side, zero allocations. It's looking, the job is looking pretty darn good. Pretty tough one. Talk some about pills. The state's wanting to change the payments, through the SRS. We need to write a letter on that to support that because they're looking at moving to the 25% receipt rule for the forested lands, which would be here again us. And we need to worry about the concessionaires doing trading for dollars instead of paying directly. They'll say regrade a road or something, so that money won't be coming directly to the Forest Service, and so therefore our school district. So that's something we need to be aware of. I don't know, it was just a very good meeting. We got a groundwater sustainability program, the draft strategic plan I'll share with Maury. So we can have to really come up here and have a workshop on. And then also we talked about AB 179, which I'll talk about a little bit later because it'll be under the Veterans Affairs. Visibility finance about that. Anyway, we'll talk about that then. And then of course we had the North Coast are looking at doing their own brand for their marijuana. So it's interesting. And then of course over there in Mendocino County, they're having issues with people wanting about some over animal control programs. Just a lot of stuff to keep heads up on. I got a couple other things I'll touch with Richard about. Other than that, Lassen County, they did the 8th grade tour up at the Lassen College. I know my son went to that yesterday, had a good time. It was a very good program, and I hope that they keep doing it. I know you guys are on the college board up there, and I think they're on the right track. They're doing a lot of good things. And then today, the 8th graders are coming down here to Supervisors and taking a tour of the new courthouse out there. One of the judges, I'm not sure what it's called. Anyway, things are going good. That's all I have.
Okay, we will move on to F, Board of Commissions, F1, Fair Advisory Board. District 5, District 3.
Move we approve these ones.
Wait a second.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Ayes have it. Planning Commission, District 3 and 5.
I move we approve these.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Ayes have it. Lassen County Fish and Game Commission, District 3 and 5.
I move we approve.
And my question there, Mr. Chairman, is
You got a second?
Second.
Okay, now you would discuss.
Okay, my question is have you received confirmation as to who is reapplying essentially for appointment to the Fishing Game Commission? I know that Mr. Paul Chaffee has said, Chappelle, I'm pronouncing it right, has said he remains interested, but I don't know that we've received
You haven't
confirmation.
actually from writing or just walk,
Yeah.
but verbally.
What about from Arbitrage?
I was under the impression he was no longer interested.
Oh,
But I did not speak with him directly, that's that information, and so I'm wondering if there's some more information. We have a lack of information basically coming back to us on who continues to be interested on this particular board, commission, excuse me. I think the only one,
We table this until next meeting,
I think there's nothing wrong with that.
The ones we have, but the ones that you haven't heard from, you can table those.
The only one I think we have heard from is Paul Chappelle.
And you said he had a verbal from Rick.
Yes, thank you.
So that's District 3, so it's the District 5,
Arbitrage.
and Larry Morgan.
No more than written me to one of them.
Maybe you can continue then 5.
I'll get a hold
What continue?
of it. I talked to Arbitrage months ago, and he said yes.
Maybe I have bad information, that's
But
possible.
I don't know, maybe he's changed his mind.
There's also an alternate, Mr. Redrath,
Yes.
who's up as well.
Yes.
And there's a vacancy for alternate 3. And so, as I read the commission board, there's that stuff.
Well, if Mr. Arbitrage doesn't want to do it, Richie will. Richie McGrath will.
One, we go ahead and proceed with District 3 appointments and postpone District 5 so you can verify.
Okay, and I'll do that today, actually.
Okay, that gives the motion.
Okay, Madam Clerk, do you have the motion?
Okay, we're appointing District 3, bring back District 5.
I'm sorry, say that again, Madam Clerk?
We're appointing District 3, but we're going to bring back District 5.
Is that the motion?
Yes.
That's the motion.
Okay, and the second.
Second.
Any more discussion?
Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing none, all in favor, say aye. Opposed, no. Ayes have it. Okay, let's do the consent calendar. We're taking them off, taking them separately.
I'm going to kick off with Z4 and 5.
G4 and 5. Okay, now, let's approve the remainder of the information consent calendar. We have a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye. Opposed, say no. Ayes have it. Did I mix the motion?
Jim Holbrook wants to talk to
Tim, you got
Yeah, can I make a comment on item 6, please?
you want 6 separate? Mr. Holbrook, okay. Gotta be fast. We'll take 6 up there for 2.
Good morning, Tim Holliver, Congressman Douglas Malta. We were approached by the Spiel family that the Department of Labor, in their wisdom, the U.S. Department of Labor, was trying to forestall and force them to not use Mexican and Peruvian sheep herders in a manner that the industry has used since the United States has run sheep. What they're trying to do is force them to bring the sheep herders in every night to a fixed address, which can't happen. The Spiels own the majority of the water at Skedaddle Mountain, and significant acreage, pay significant taxes in this county. The Estells are based in Lassen County, the same situation. They both run 5 bands of sheep, they're approximately 1,000 head each. So you're looking at potentially 20,000 head of sheep running in the county at some time during the summer months. And I believe there's 4 other people that also use this H2A program. By taking this away from them, we're forestalling their ability to graze the high mountains and the range, and it's essential that they have that. And I appreciate your support for it. I asked the Estells and Espiels are both in located in the 5th District, so I asked Mr. Hammond if we could get support from the county, but I appreciate your support on that. We will hand carry your letter to a meeting that we're having with, in association with Congressman Amity. These people run from both states, as most of you, I think, are aware. So again, I appreciate your support for this. Thank you.
Did you read the letter, Tim?
Yes, a good letter. Thank you.
Yeah, it was a great letter.
Thank you, Tim. Any other discussion on G6? Seeing none, do you have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, you know, ayes have it. Let's take let's go back to G1.
Mr. Chairman, as the board's aware, we've conducted an RFP and we selected a contractor to provide financial advisory services for financing to facilitate several projects, contribution to a pool, acquisition of an additional site for the county, and some improvements to the courthouse. We've selected, it's our recommendation to use Government Financial Services Incorporated. There's a contract in your packet, which I am proposing a few late-breaking changes to, and I'll pass these around. I've got copies for the public as well. They're what I would consider non-substantive changes to the contract. Then I ask Mr. Shaw to go through them. We're asking for your approval to expedite this this contract so that we can get moving on the finance.
Welcome, Tony.
Good morning.
Good to see you. Smiley face.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Tony Shaw, Deputy County Administrative Officer. Thank you, Richard, for giving some background on this. What happened here is we were attempting to expedite the contract. We had sent it to the contractor to have them execute the agreement, and upon their review, they asked for some changes. And we had those approved by legal counsel, Andrew. Let me get to them real quick. So in the attachment D, page 3, section D55, they just asked to have a deadline put there for when we would request the insurance.
So the change is stricken out.
Yeah, it's just stricken out. And typically what we would do is, the contract negotiations, we would do all this at the administrative level, and then you would have a contract that would be clean to you. So what you're seeing is more information than we would normally provide, because each contract is negotiated differently. So I apologize for all the handwritten changes, but again, these have been reviewed and approved by County Council. The same thing with D58. They just wanted to have a date put in of when that would be done by. They asked for a section of D6 to be stricken, and that was reviewed and approved by legal counsel. Sections D61 and D62 and D63 are all sections that we would use if we were contracting with a public agency, but we're not. Does anybody have any questions so far on any of these?
Question for Tony? See none?
Okay. Termination clause, D5, or attachment D, page 5, section D13, termination. The contractor wanted to also have the right to terminate the agreement. Any question with that one? Okay. And I think that's it. That's all the changes we have. Is there any other questions?
Any questions from the public? None from the public, none from the board, none from staff? You gonna get something?
I have just one question.
Yes.
I noticed on the front page it talks about March 17th through August 30th. So what's the time frame for doing this financial structuring?
Great question. So we are trying to finish the financing as soon as possible, hopefully before June 30th. We want to take advantage of low interest rates. And so you'll notice we've started work on this even, we're a week ahead of schedule because we've started on the 17th instead of waiting for execution today. And that is actually part of the contract that if at some point the board decides not to proceed with the financing, then we would have to pay the contractor for those services to date. If we are successful and we complete the financing, the cost of using the consultant will be built into the bond issuance, and so there'll be no out-of-pocket from the general fund for this, but it will be part of the loan repayments over a period of 20 or 30 years.
Thank you. I think the purpose of the question, though, is in terms of the timeliness for financing. We have negotiations with the building down the Riverside Drive. We have courthouse improvements, the elevator in particular, and also funding for pool construction of all major components as well as other stuff that you have defined. So I mean, obviously, the sooner you access the capital, the sooner you're able to take care of things.
I can address that somewhat with regard to the Riverside building or the negotiations on. It was my intention to, if the timing doesn't allow for it, to negotiate an interim lease and then a purchase sometime later if that was required. With regard, we plan on having this done by the end of the fiscal year, but and that would provide adequate time for the pool contribution. And we're not planning any improvements to actually begin at the courthouse until all these other things are done, so which would be next fiscal year. We think the timing accommodates our schedule.
Okay, that's what I just kind of want to hear and have it on the record.
Mr. Spencer, you have a question?
Yes, so when we have a JPA, why is the county now doing this for the pool? That's my first question.
Take it one at a time.
Can we address that? Sure. The recent amendment to the JPA agreement regarding both the county and the city is that each will contribute a lump sum amount of money to the JPA for the construction of the pool, and this is the mechanism that the county is utilizing to fund our portion of that contribution.
Well, if I could comment, we have two choices. The JPA could go out and get financing, and because it does not have, you might say, a credit background, would be paying the highest rates. That's one avenue. The other avenue was to go back to, this is what the JPA did, back to the two contributing partners, the city and the county, and ask them to basically produce or advance against their pledge of the next 15 years, advancing a portion of the money, which if they were to finance it, would be able to finance that at much lower rates. So the question is, do we want to pay more interest or less interest? And the avenue that was chosen by the two contributing agencies and the JPA was to have each of the entities pursue their own financing for that sum for the construction, which would make it a lot cheaper than if the JPA just did it itself.
So you've abandoned the certificate of participation as a form of funding? No, you haven't?
That's what this is.
Right. We've identified a couple of avenues for the financing, certificates of participation being one of them. Part of the financial advisory services firm's job is going to be to analyze those two and help us determine which best fits that one.
To fund construction on our part, county's part.
Yes.
But the county's interest is more than just their share of the construction cost of the pool. We have other needs, and that's what Mr. Egan brought to the board several months ago, was lumping it together at one.
That would bring me to my second question. The CIP has no funding for any work on the court. So is it your intention to put the cart before the horse, and when you find funding, then put that maintenance and construction and new construction on the CIP? Right now, it's zero. The budget is zero for any work on the course.
I think the question was, are we intending to put the cart before the horse? And the answer is no.
But is this like in preparation for putting money in the budget for the renovation of the courthouse? Is that what you're doing?
Part of this financing is intended to provide funds for improvements to the courthouse.
Which is zero right now. You budgeted zero.
The
So-
CIP identifies several projects at Courthouse Square along with throughout the county. So there are envisioned projects there which right now currently don't have funding budgeted in the budget. But this would give a vehicle, a mechanism to provide funding to accomplish projects that have been identified in the CIP.
This funding will allow a source to budget improvements.
It's still a cart before the horse because
I think your question's been answered.
yeah, it's your way of doing things. I appreciate that.
Okay, thank you for your.
By the way, Mr. Chairman, we're not driving any carts or horses, we're driving automobiles these days.
Okay. Any other questions from the audience or staff before we vote on this? Okay, I guess we need a motion. You don't have one? No, okay, I'll need a motion.
I'll make the motion.
Second. You got a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Ayes have it.
Thank you.
Okay, that. We're going to go over to D4. Somebody asked.
Yeah, I asked for this. I think we have a very good letter written here. Just down the very last paragraph on the front page, where it says these projects are essentially expected to remain the forest product value and benefit. I would like to see one more thing added there, and that is for our local economy. And here again, I'll revert back to the OCRC with the new Rural Schools Act. You know that they're going to be looking to go back to the 25% implementation rule, rather than just the flat fee for the forces. So we're going to start going back to our deal. So to the forest value of actual timber receipts. And so I would like to see that just for our local economy added to the benefit.
Yeah.
We can easily have that one.
Okay. That's what I like to know. No, I think it's a very good lesson. Thank you for doing your
You're
job.
welcome, my pleasure.
I would like to add, if I could, I want to thank Mr. Shaw for pulling together a lot of information from a variety of departments in this extensive project in several weeks. And I think the letter is very well done, not understated.
These timber harvest statistics are stunning.
So, thank you, Tony. Any other questions?
I think the main thing is we need to impress upon the Forest Service the importance of the importance of the fact that being proactive in providing fuel reduction negates the need to have to do the cleanup after a devastating fire and on two fires.
Mr. Hague, let me get that clear this morning. Tim?
I'd like to add, I couldn't hear Mr. Alba, he may have covered this, but that you include the blowdown that happened on that significant windstorm we had, about 6 weeks ago. There are literally millions of board feet of prime timber that blew down that can't normally be harvested, but can now. And the local Forest Service office is having difficulty with the region getting this done, and they're finally getting help after 6 weeks. They should have had it the day after. But if you could add that, there's literally millions of board feet of marketable timber that's fallen down in the windstorm. I'm sure most of you have been up Highway 44 and you've seen it. If not, I can email pictures to anybody.
Tim, do you foresee the Forest Service lighting up their policies about this blowdown timber?
No. I think that the local staff, worked very closely with. They've done an excellent job. They're very short-handed. Mr. Hayes, who's the new supervisor, has finally asked for help in getting some, but he had to go through a lot of hoops before they allow him to ask for help. I don't have a good feeling for the attitude from the region at all. I have a good attitude from the local force, but
There will be a detailed discussion at 11 o'clock.
I understand that. I plan on being here for that too. He needs backing, and we need to back him as much as we can. We don't want him to lose his good staff.
No, and they are over.
They're well overtaxed right now. Yeah, very frustrating. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Karen. Karen, did you want to add that to the other?
No, I think this is for the fire salvage for the molding.
That should be maybe a
Could be
second.
Tony?
Yeah, I'd like to give board an update on their letter they sent last week on this issue of the blowdown timber. So after the blowdown timber event, I had actually met with David Hayes with the Forest Service, and then I'd also attended the Fire Safe Council meeting and made a request from the CAO's office asking Mr. Hayes to ask the regional office to have some additional support to deal with the blowdown timber. And then the board followed up with that with a letter on March 9th to the Forest Service and Randy Moore, the regional forester. So you've taken action on this.
Good enough. Thank you, Tony.
Good job.
Okay,
So with that slight change, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
motion and second. Any more discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. The ayes have it. G5.
G5, I just think we need to clean this up a little bit. I don't know who put this together, the resolution, but
David
Who's the?
Lassen Services.
I think it just needs to be cleaned up a little bit. If you look out at the bottom, it says, therefore be it resolved, and turn the page, and then it goes to where we're at. It's not very clean.